Hi there, my name is Miss Maisie. I'm a teen librarian with the Naperville Public Library, and today we're going to be making a mini piñata. Let's get started. The first thing you'll need for this craft is a template of a donkey or burro. You don't have to make a burro, you can make a different sort of shape, but this one's pretty traditional, so we're going to start with that. You'll also need some thin kind of paperboard, cardboard, similar to what you'd get with a cake box or a cereal box. You'll need a marker or some other way to transfer the image of your pattern onto your cardboard. You'll need a sponge brush. You'll need school glue or Mod Podge. You'll need a pair of scissors. You'll need crepe paper or streamers. I personally suggest having about 5 colors of this, but you can use any color variation you want. And optionally, you'll need some googly eyes. You'll want to make sure to find a small set. I also recommend using tape. I'm using blue tape, so it's pretty easy to spot when I'm using it. You'll need to use this to attach the different pieces of cardboard to each other. You can use glue, but I do think tape is easiest. Our first step is going to involve our cardboard, our template, and our scissors. We're going to cut our cardboard open so it's a long sheet. Just going to cut along one of the usual folds. So I can fold out the whole thing. I'm going to set this aside for a moment, and then I'm going to cut out these shapes on my template. Now we're going to trace our template onto our cardboard. You can already see I did one below. You're just going to want to hold it flat and trace around the edges. And you'll do that for every piece of your design. You'll need both of the little donkey shapes, and then you'll also need 2 of the long flat edges. Depending on the size or shape of your cardboard, you may end up needing to kind of be careful on how you locate them. But luckily here I have 2 different halves. Now we're going to take our scissors and cut out our shapes. You should be left with 4 cardboard pieces that you've cut out from your template. Now we'll go ahead and attach them to each other. What I found works really well is starting with one set piece. So I'm going to start with 1/2 of our donkey and one of our interior lines. I'm going to put some tape on the colorful part of the box, the part that's going to face on the inside. And then I'm going to kind of attach it to the inside of that long flat piece, just using the tape. Again, you can use glue for this stage. I found that took a lot longer. So I do recommend using tape instead. You'll notice almost immediately we end up with a corner or a joint. So we're going to just carefully fold our cardboard so we have the corner, lining up with that corner. And again, we're going to take some of our tape, put it on the inside of the box, the colorful part, and then line it up that way. Once again, we're coming up to one of those joints. I personally find this one kind of the hardest bit to fold because we have to do a lot of folds all at once. But we're going to fold and tape, pull off a little bit more of that. And then we'll fold right along that crease and tape. And then once more, we're gonna fold. And we're gonna tape. It'll look kind of funny on the inside, but on the outside, again, we're just following the shape of that donkey. We're going to go ahead and fold again. We're going to tape that piece in place. I do find myself sometimes kind of negotiating with the cardboard to make sure it's fitting correctly. And this is going to be our last fold on this piece of cardboard. We're going to tape right up the side here. It may take a little bit of adjustment. I definitely have found when working on this craft that I've had to go back and retape certain areas just to make sure they stay in place. So now we've got the bottom half of one donkey filled. Next we're going to grab the other half. You see where we kind of left off here, we have right under the neck. We're going to start right there with this piece of cardboard and the other half of the donkey. This time we're going to cover up the top half of the donkey. One of the things I also found is you may have like extra cardboard on these long strips, and that is okay. We can always trim them. We just want to make sure we have enough to really get the whole shape outlined. What I like about taping it from the inside is it's going to give us a cleaner edge when we go to glue things, or glue the crepe paper onto it. The nice part about this outline part it is basically just folding and taping the whole way through. So once you get the hang of it, it gets pretty quick. Once you have both of your pieces lined, you're going to line them up together, and then we're going to use tape once again on the inside to connect the two halves. This can be tricky, but my number one suggestion is to put the tape down first and then line the cardboard up on top of it. So you can see we're kind of laying this down, then lining this up where it's meant to go, and sort of folding it over. And we're just going to do the same thing all the way around. So you've got all your tape on. This is when you're really going to fit the two pieces together. I should note that if you want to add candy to the interior of your piñata so someone can break it and have things fall out, this is the perfect time to add it. What I did find helpful is if you have a place where you're just having a hard time getting it to lie flat, then you can add some tape on the outside. I like to minimize this just so it's a little bit smoother and cleaner, but at the same time, you know, if it's not sticking together, there's always a solution. Once you're satisfied with the actual shape, now comes the fun part, attaching our paper. So, one of the things I love about piñatas is that they do tend to have that kind of feathery quality to their paper. So I'm gonna take a chunk of this crepe paper, fold it in half, and then I'm gonna cut little notches all along it. They don't have to be super even. They don't even have to lay super nicely, because we want to give it that kind of shaggy donkey texture that piñatas have. Then we're going to take our school glue and our sponge brush, add a little bit of school glue to that sponge brush, dab it on to your leg. I really recommend starting with the feet because we're going to kind of cover up the different layers. I also recommend using the sponge brush instead of just straight applying the glue, because you don't want to have too much glue. We're going to kind of work on layering it. You can kind of see how we've got here, we've got a white layer, green, and it layers all the way up. And so that's why we're going to start at the feet. And we're going to do every side of that foot. Wrap it on there, and then you'll apply a little bit of glue. This I usually apply directly because at this point we're applying through so many layers of paper. And bring it around to the front and then trim off any excess. And the nice thing is we'll use that excess as we get further up on the head especially, and you need less paper. Then we're going to do the same thing to the other foot. We're going to do the same thing with our next color. So we're going to apply our glue. This time we're going to go just above and at the very top of our first layer. Start applying it there. And just like we did with the first layer, we're going to go all the way around. We're going to just keep going up until we hit about the neck, And we're going to do some slightly different things with the nose here, but let's keep adding our layers. As we start getting to the neck is where we're going to start doing something a little different. Instead of kind of going around as we've been doing, where we have his little face, we're gonna glue around so it's facing that way along his nose. So let's go ahead and do that now. This is why I said earlier, if you have a length that's a little too long for what you're currently gluing, not a worry. We will get good use of it. We just need a little excess. We've got some smaller pieces here. So we're going to do one more layer with our final color. Again, we're going to add a little bit of glue. Grip it to the paper, line it up right on top, and pinch it and mold the sides, trim the extra. And what I found with this very top layer is I actually wanted to trim that top layer just so it's a little bit shorter and we have a little more of a visible layer. This is when you can either attach your googly eyes or take that same black marker we used at the beginning and draw in some eyes. You see here I've got googly eyes. Here I'm just going to use some markers. But now we've got two lovely little piñatas that are almost too cute to break. Thanks so much for joining me, and I hope you join us for another craft again soon. Thanks. Bye.